cheers for Washington. Hip hip, huzzah! Hip hip, huzzah! Hip hip, huzzah!
When a vintage baseball game ends, the players will line up on each foul line, and the winning captain will make a speech or salute to the losing team, and there's a tipping of a cap, and all the players will say hip hip huzzah.
Huzzah, 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 I say, for the Nines of Hartford Town. Their legend walks among us now, the Hartford Senators of such renown.
First of all, I'm a Hartford boy. The very first time I saw the Hartford Senators, it was at a St. Patrick's Day parade, and they were marching, and it was at the end of the parade, and I saw the boys coming down the street, and I had been researching the 1920s Hartford Senators, and they were alive and real and walking toward me, and I just nearly started crying. It takes me 45 minutes to get dressed up as Pops. I have all my vintage clothes, my vintage hat, and when I put on that Pops outfit, I become Pops, a 1800s person.
Pops is kind of like the, he's the guardian of knowledge. He kind of travels around, he gets up into the garb, and he knows a lot about baseball and the history of it.
We played it in ace. As the historian of the team, I try to keep the fellas on the team informed as to what historically had happened to them. And most of the guys on the team are baseball historians and lovers of baseball themselves. Getting under them.
I've always been a historian, and you kind of forget that the game came before Babe Ruth and Ty Cobb, and you don't realize that the game evolved from this, town ball where there was a little tiny ball, and the rules didn't just get written out on paper. They were played, and then they say, oh, this doesn't really work. The game isn't competitive enough, so we need to change, how many balls or strikes or how far the pitcher is from the plate. And I just found that very fascinating, and just to be, participating in that, it's kind of a history lesson for those who come out. So it's great. I love it.
Baseball is evolving, and it has been evolving, and it's selective memory that people have about talking about the good old days. And I was hitting a point in my life where I was thinking about the good old days and my heroes, and realizing that baseball is so American, and history of our area and how intertwined they are, and they connect families and they connect generations, and to realize that it's gone through everyone's life who's been involved in the game and has been for nearly 200 years. Baseball and politics are probably the two things, and maybe music, that connect families and connect generations. And to hear my father talk about his heroes when he was a kid, and remembering my heroes when I was a kid, it's the one constant, like a heartbeat, that's gone through my whole life.
I guess my best memories of baseball go back to when I was a child. I was a Giants fan, and one day my dad took us to the Polo Grounds to see the New York Giants play. First of all, you walk into this building, and inside the building is a baseball field, a big, green, beautiful field. You walk in there, and it's quiet. The only thing you can hear is the crack of the bat, the players taking batting practice. You hear them calling to each other across the field. And seeing that and listening to the sound of the bat hitting the ball, it was like walking into a church. It was a religious experience.
I think the modern game has gone so far left or right, whichever way you want to look at it, that, with vintage baseball, if all you have to do is recreate that era, that time, that presence, and you've automatically, maybe I guess naturally created a backlash, but it's not, it's certainly not, it's not intentional.
And what I've seen happen over the years has gradually, completely transformed that experience. And now, you know, I walk into a ballpark and there's no quiet. You can't hear the bat hit the ball. There's no crack of the bat. You can't hear the players calling on the field because there's this noise going on, this sound machine. They're blasting rock music at you. And there's a huge television set in center field. And they're basically saying, don't watch the players. Don't listen for their chatter, or, you know, the players aren't important. They don't matter. What matters is this television set here.
I don't think vintage baseball is a direct reaction against our modern game, but it does offer a place for someone who may or may not be able to totally enjoy what our present day game is, an opportunity to go back to a different time.